Hey guys, welcome to another behind the scenes video. Just wanted to give a little extra to you guys who give extra to us here at Thrive and help us to keep going by giving and praying for us. This is just some inside scoop here on the Poland and Nepal trip. You should have gotten a newsletter already, but just a little extra here. You know, the first weekend in Poland, I was there for 10 days. The first weekend was with our new Psalm Studies group. It's the newer group who we're taking through the songwriting community and focusing on excellence in music and songwriting and the centrality of Christ and the gospel and learning traditions. What is a traditional and cultural Polish way to express the worthiness of the Lamb, Jesus. And so this is the place where we met. If you can see that very well there, but we're just meeting in a local sound studio actually, and this was one of the worship times that we had together there. These guys are mostly 20 and 30 year olds. A few of them are older than that, but next generation for sure. And this is a song that they have just recorded, will be released in the video in the next few months. Beautiful. It's a beautiful Polish traditional melody about the worthiness of Jesus. It's beautiful. And of course, the next weekend, through the week, I actually worked with StrengthsFinder training with the team there. And then the next weekend, we were at Mateo's house, and this is the first group of New Psalm Studies, the second level of discipleship for these songwriters. Many of these you guys and gals you've seen in these videos before. This is called Agnus Dei Gloria. And we are just going deeper in the gospel and deeper in how God wants to work inside of us. It's just a deeper discipleship journey with these people. So such a joy to be with them because I've already developed relationships with them, and I know some of them and walked through some things with some of them. And we were talking about the journey that God takes his leaders on when he wants to make them into what he needs them to be inside to do what they're supposed to do in the kingdom. So that was great. This is just some random shots here, prayer for some of the people there. And then of course we moved to Nepal after 10 days in Poland. I met Yuri in Nepal. And this is a video of some of the roads we were on. The roads up in the mountains, we were about 6 miles from the Tibet border, which basically is China. And we were way high up in the mountains, and some of the roads we were on were pretty crazy. I'll just give you a little taste of that, if you can see this. It's a long ways down. There is no guardrail. And these are the kind of roads that we were on most of the time there. Pretty crazy. This is the little camp outside of the church where we had the first conference. And this is the stove, the outdoor stove that they were cooking breakfast on. This is the meeting. You can hear some of the worship there. Beautiful. They're sitting cross-legged for hours. I have no idea how they really do that. This is a picture of them with the books that we handed out. We handed out these Make Disciples booklets in Nepalese. We just got them translated into Nepalese. We handed out about 200 or more, maybe 250 of these over the week I was there, training them how to bring people to Christ and help people grow in Christ, how to take what they know and make disciples out of other people and multiply the kingdom. Really important because this is about 1.4% Christian there. It's mostly Hindu, some Buddhist, some Muslim. The minority is Christians. But in these rural regions, there are churches. These are first generation churches. In other words, none of these had parents who were Christians. This is first generation. And so they are learning and growing, and it's absolutely beautiful. And you can see most of these people have the booklets. Not everybody, because not everybody can read, but most of them have booklets there. And this is a picture of them outside. You saw this, I think, in the first newsletter, outside the church building there. Beautiful. Beautiful people. And this is a miracle. Can you see this right here? This is the tire that we rode on. Can you see that? There are 2 tires on the back of this truck, and they both had treads sticking out, little wires sticking out, like the steel belts were sticking out of the tires. This is how bad the tires were. They were terrible. And this was at the first of our trip, the first of our journey, and we rode on these tires the entire week on these mountains. It was the worst roads I've ever been on in my life. Absolutely crazy roads. 4-wheel driving, and it was an absolute miracle. Thank you for praying, because it was truly a miracle that we got through that entire week in these very remote places where if we had a breakdown, we couldn't have done anything about it. There was nothing, there was no help. And we made it all the way back to the next weekend. And after the church service in Kathmandu, we came outside and this tire here was flat. So it made it all the way back to the city. It was a big miracle of the trip. And this is off the back porch of one of the pastor's houses there. You can see the terraces, the terraced gardens. They're growing potatoes and cabbage and cauliflower and lentils and such. And they really kind of live like our ancestors lived. They do have electricity in most of these little villages, because they've done a good job of rural electrification process in these villages, but it's still very primitive in terms of the way they live. These are some of the pastors here of the local churches. This is Pastor in the green, Pastor Bishwa. He's the one that took us. He's the one that I met last year at the Forward Mission Conference in Johnson City. We had a 10-minute conversation, realized we had the same heart for these mountain pastors, prayed about how we could get together, and we did get together. And so this is Pastor Bishwa. He was our driver. I called him our Sherpa, because he got us up into the mountains, and he was our translator for me and Yuri both. And these pastors are just wonderful people. This is outside of one of the pastor's houses as well. You can see the kind of a profile view of these terraces where they plant their crops. And this is the second conference that we did. There they are, sitting all cross-legged for all day long while we were ministering to them and bringing the gospel to them. Same group outside that little church building, high in the mountains. And here they are with their Make Disciples booklets. So thank God that we were able to leave something with them, not only just come and encourage them, but leave something with them. And you know, this is Yuri. As we were getting ready to go to sleep one night, it was cold. We were in, it was literally freezing outside, and we were in a little block building with no insulation and no heat. There was electricity for lights, and we could charge our phone, but there was no heat. So we were in, I think I have a picture of me too, somewhere. Yeah, here, this is me getting ready for bed here, in multiple layers, including my coat, hat, under 2 blankets. So it was cold. It was cold. This is the pastor's family. He has 4 other daughters that are not in this picture, but this is his son and his wife. This is Pastor Shanti, who you read about in the newsletter. If you read the little blog, this is Pastor Shanti here. His name means peace, and he is one of the pastors of the church there, and also he pastors a lot of the other he's kind of a group leader of several churches there. He ministers to those leaders of those pastors in those churches. Another picture. This is the roads that we were on with those tires. You can imagine climbing these roads, and we rode for 6 days on these roads, and just different mountain ranges there. It's crazy. And again, no guardrails, long ways down, and you can see the mountains in the distance there. Was a crazy thing. There's a better picture of the mountain range. This is the mountain range where Everest is. I don't think Everest is in that picture, but this is where we are. And this is another, you can see we are so close, just inches away from this side of the mountain. And then when you look on the other side, we're just inches away from the side of the cliff, which goes down a long, long ways. So thank you for praying for our safety. This was quite a trip, and there were a few times when I'm not really necessarily a very fearful person. You can see the ridges up, the villages up on the side of those ridges over there. That's where we're heading. Not really a fearful person, but there were a couple of times on this trip I was really concerned because we had to go really slow thread the needle, through this little passage. And so here's some school kids on the side of the road. And of course the road's so narrow they have to stand on the side when we're going by there. Very sweet, very sweet. And this is another picture, if you can get some perspective here, of those terraces down the side of that mountain. And over on the top of this hill here, at the end of that ridge there is the church that we're going to, which you'll see in just a minute. This is the church. So you can see this is looking over the side of that ridge. Now I pan around and you can look up the ridge, and up that ridge is the houses. That's the village. The village is on top of that ridge as it goes up through there. It's not spread out, it's just all along the ridge. And then this is the church. Of course, they leave their shoes outside, and Yuri is speaking, and they're listening. So again, we were giving out these Make Disciples booklets. You can see it there in Nepalese, and you can see them. They were very glad to get those. We were told that we were the first outsiders that came to this area. Of course, other people had been there because there's a church there. There have been indigenous workers, evangelists, and pastors that came and planted these churches. But we were the first ones apparently from the outside that got there. And what a joy it is. These are mostly leaders from 5 different churches in this area. And maybe you can see it better this is another picture of the same group outside. This is a picture of the pastors and the leaders of the churches themselves, so those 5 churches. And Yuri and I here, Pastor Bishwa here, and his wife Gopi, who are connected to these churches and oversee many of the churches, and Yuri and I, of course, and then all of these pastors and leaders here. This is a picture I was going to look for. This is, if you can see here, this is a lot of the regions and counties in Nepal and the churches that are planted there in those regions that are just within this one stream of churches. So a lot of them, 5 in this one area. Some of these people walked for days to get to these meetings, and this was not an easy walk. It was a difficult walk. a couple of other pastors, Pastor Satis and Pastor David, that we met back in the home church in Kathmandu. Kathmandu is a larger city. This is a picture of Kathmandu. It is kind of spread out there. Maybe it's around 1 million or so. I couldn't get a estimate online that agreed, but it was like 800,000 to 1.2 million. So it's the capital city there in Nepal. And then this is a picture of Pastor Bishwa, Gopi, his wife, his son, and his son's wife. And then they have a daughter as well who is in medical school or in school to be a nurse. So this is a little inside scoop there. And again, thank you so much for your prayers. I tell you that we felt them so much on this trip. And we're so grateful for this opportunity to partner with people there who are doing great things. Pastor Bishwa in Kathmandu has a school. It's a small Bible college, and he has 14 students in his school. There were 2 students that graduated last year. Those 2 students were up in the mountains, and they were helping the churches in the mountains. And so they are reproducing leaders as well. We hope to be able to go back. We hope that this is not a one-time thing, but that it is a continuation of a building together in relationship, and to be able to equip them as best we can, possibly even take some medical teams back there in the future. So thank you so much for all that you do. You are as much a part of this as we are, because you're helping us to do it. So God bless. Bye-bye.